You know, we went to the Halloween store.
Oh, yeah?
And they did not have any Corgi masks.
Huh.
I was kind of hoping.
Oh, they just already had one.
They already have one. I'd be like, look, Dan, it's done. And you'd be like, holy shit, you're good.
That's amazing.
Hey, welcome there, fellow maker. We're down in the shop. I'm Bill, and I have a special guest today.
Domestic Dan.
Yes, Dan, you stream creatively.
I do. I'm a cook.
That's right. You'll be at TwitchCon,
Yes, I will.
and I hear you're going to a masquerade.
I have heard that rumor myself.
For that masquerade, you want a masquerade mask,
Yes.
but not just any mask.
No, not any mask.
An animal-themed one.
Yes.
Which animal?
Corgis, because I have one.
Of course. So today we're gonna make a masquerade mask together.
Yes.
And it's gonna look like a corgi,
That's my hope.
or at least I hope so.
I'm sure it will.
All right. So before you got here, I did a tiny bit of prep work, just a little bit. And this is what I have so far.
Looks like a dog.
It looks like a completed mask, but it's not. This is gonna be a form that we're gonna pull a pattern off of. So why don't I give you a quick rundown how I got this far. Okay. This started its life as a masquerade mask from the Halloween store. It was a bird-shaped one. I started to fill out all of the insides with an expanding poly foam, and then I trimmed the beak off to get it closer to a dog's snout. And then I started covering all of that with more of that expanding poly foam. Just lots and lots of stuff, covering as much as I could to get the basic form. I also made some dog ears out of some flat plastic and glued them to the bit of mask. And then those also got covered in expanding polyfoam. And again, that's just to bulk out the form before I could go in and start sculpting it. Then I used a variety of tools, including saws and knives and rotary tools and sandpaper, to sculpt all of that foam down to the shape that we have today. And hopefully this will be the appropriate form that we can use to make the patterns for our mask.
I'm hoping it fits my weird shaped head.
We can check right now.
Oh, perfect. Hooray.
That'll work. Heavy duty foil. So start by ripping off a big piece so that maybe you can cover the whole thing.
Front and back?
Just the front. So the goal with this foil is going to be to cover and match the contours in the whole helmet mask thing. So just place it on there and just start sort of crimping it on and
Crimp it as smooth as possible.
as smooth as possible. But really the foil will allow you to capture all of those complex curves. Awesome. So this is what we're going to use to make our pattern, but if we pulled this off right now, it would just flatten out. So we're going to cover all this in duct tape.
Okay.
So with the duct tape, you're going to want to rip it into small pieces so that it matches. We're going to do this too. Ready? I guess it really is heavy duty. There it goes. You can poke out the other eye. Way to show off, Dan.
I work with foil. It's kind of one of my things.
This is the cheapest duct tape money can buy. Got it at Harbor Freight. Some spots you want to get into like the curves and everything, so you want to tear it into thinner strips if you can. So like to get in there, you don't want it to end up lying flat. So you might do a piece like that. Do a piece like that. And then you'll come back and cover some of these other spots there.
Gotcha.
But we want it to be able to go and adapt to those curves and edges. And don't worry about wasting it either. This was very inexpensive, and I'm trying to use it all up.
Just buy way too much of it, and
it was cheap. It was like on sale at Harbor Freight, and I was like, "Whoa, what a good deal! I'll buy a ton of it."
Good old Harbor Freight. I usually buy really cheap foil because I'm not doing anything that really needs a lot of good foil, I guess. Like, not like this. I don't need heavy duty. I'm just gonna cover up these potatoes. It just needs to hold in heat.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of it. Nothing else.
Look at that.
I think I don't see any foil.
Cool. Well, this is all gonna get fixed up later in post. Okay, next step is I need to figure out where all the seams are gonna go. So this is kind of where having done several things like this helps. But that's basically pattern. It's fine.
It's fine. That's good. I screwed it up. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna try and figure out where we need to cut this apart so that we can lay all these pieces flat, and then so that when we glue the foam back together, this will turn back into this.
I didn't realize we were going to destroy this after we just put it together.
It's gonna get cut apart. So I'm thinking this nice deep area here is gonna get cut apart across the nose.
So you're going all Dexter, okay?
Yep.
You're just gonna.
And then definitely down the side of the muzzle here. And then along that outer eye part there. Probably right down the middle of his stupid head.
Poor stupid Corgi head.
Like that. We need to liberate the ears, I think. Probably.
I free them from their earthly
like
bonds.
that. And I think to get this indent, we definitely need a seam right down the middle of that. Like that. Once I cut this apart, we may find that we have to add more darts, but we'll figure that out when we get there. Going all butcher on this poor guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to look like a butchered pig at this point. Yeah. Not really a Corgi. Should we do a pig max in this?
We can totally do that. Now we need to cut that off. We got a nice sharp blade.
Perfect.
Steady hands.
Awesome.
All right.
Don't have the steadiest of hands.
So just cut right down the middle there.
But, I mean, I've cut myself so many times being a cook. It's not...
You ever cut yourself live on stream?
I did it for the first time.
Nice.
Like a week ago.
All right.
In 2 years.
Wow.
I was actually kind of impressed with myself that I'd actually done it. This was the center, yeah, okay.
Yeah. You can press that right through into the foam. There you go. This is like weird animal surgery.
We're basically just copying what the sewing world does, because they'll make a whole scrap dress and then change up the seams and cut it apart.
Super smooth.
Yeah.
Super smooth.
Hold on.
Yeah, there we go. Just, yeah.
Never happened.
I'm sure. That was, look at that. It's like it was brand new.
We're all very nervous.
You're
doing great. Doing great, Dan.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. Just some strange person in your basement with a knife.
And it's okay if it's really a really ugly cut. We can fix it later. I mean, yours looks awesome.
I mean, it's perfect. Like, I got it right first try. It's like gold
You can
status.
also, here, let me just show you here.
Yeah, please.
If you cut in the other direction, it won't pull as much. Like that. There we go.
Look at that.
There you go. We can just stick that back like that.
Oh,
it
man.
looks good.
Perfect.
So in this case here, see how that doesn't want to lay flat? We'll have to cut that out as well. And
Do you want registration marks?
oh, Britt just pointed out something really smart that I forgot to do. And if Evil Ted's watching, I'm sorry I forgot, Ted. Before you cut it apart, you should make registration marks. So this is when we're gluing pieces back together, we can line them back up, like so. Very good, like that. And
Like
then,
if you're going to sync audio at the beginning of a video and you clap or you... Okay.
right. So I'm going to do a couple of those on the snout here, like that. And then with this piece off, that we can just use scissors.
I don't think there's enough pieces where you have to label them, but if you think you're going to forget, you can always give them names.
Yeah.
And numbers or something.
Like that. So that's nice and flat. That's nice and flat. Like that. And we can set those aside for now and keep cutting. I've cut half of it off.
I mean, I totally did that. Really
Yeah.
quickly.
I mean, Dan.
Yeah.
What we're going to do next, I'm going to leave half of it. We're just going to pattern half and mirror it.
Okay.
That seems like the best thing.
Sure.
The ears here are pretty good, but they don't really want to lay flat. So we're going to cut a dart in them. So that's going to go right around there, let's say. And that should help it lay flat. Mostly. It's still a little...
Do a second one.
Little right there. And there we go. So now that can lay down nice and flat. And when we make our foam, we'll put the same cuts in, we'll glue them back together, and we should get that shape back.
Awesome.
So yeah, let's do this one real quick. Like that. Nice and flat. We'll go back together.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we can set that aside. These are all our parts. The ear kind of goes like that. The eye kind of goes like that. Then the nose. Oops. Let's put it on screen. There we go. So it kind of goes like that.
That looks like a Corgi.
Totally a pattern.
I own one. That's pretty much the same.
What we're going to do to clean this up a little bit is I'm going to take a picture of this and trace it as a vector file and clean it up a little bit. In fact, we did a video on that with Evil Ted. You guys can go check that out. Ooh. Cool. All right. Skip forward a little while. Did some Inkscape work and drew out our pattern. Well, half of it anyway.
Yeah.
I like doing it like this because I can clean it up a little bit. All the curves and everything are nice and tidy. And we can even check, and sure enough, it's pretty close. It might be a tiny bit oversized, but I think that's okay.
It probably is a little more accurate at this point anyway.
Yeah, that'll do. So now this is, like I said, half the pattern. We need to cut all this out, and then we can start cutting out our foam.
My mom said I was really good at cutting stuff out one time.
Yeah?
No. That was not a thing she's ever uttered.
I cut out my pattern, and these little ticks are for my registration mark, and I have this super handy pattern registration punch thing that I'm using to cut those out, like so. This is my favorite thing to use. It's very satisfying. This is so we can line all our pieces up again later. Hopefully. Totally.
Definitely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that is our cutout pattern piece.
Looks pretty cool.
And keep at it.
I mean, it's not like it took me this amount of time to do one. I'm just being really meticulous, okay?
You're doing good.
I'm doing good. Do you approve of me, Bill? Secretly never inviting him back again.
You'll know at the end of the video.
I'll know
like it's all done, and then it cuts to a mask that I totally made after you left.
I'll be watching. Okay, I think I did it. Bam.
Here, you want to do the punching?
Oh hell yeah.
Here, I'll record it for posterity.
Sorry. Heck yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Isn't that satisfying?
It really is actually. I like that.
I love tools. Granted, Alton Brown would disagree, but I love tools that have one incredibly specific purpose.
I listen. I'm not Alton Brown, so I'm absolutely okay with all of that.
Because I have dozens of tools like that, and they sit dormant for like 2 years. Then the moment I need to use it, I'm like, yes.
But then you also have that tool. Like
I do.
You were good.
Okay. We got one more thing to punch out.
Hey, one more. Sorry. I'm sorry.
It's fine. All right, now we have to get some foam and get to cutting.
Sweet.
Foam time. So this is a 6mm foam, I think. Got from TNT Cosplay Supply. We love those guys. We're gonna trace our patterns down on here, and I've got some paint markers just so it's really easy to see. But basically, I like to use these weights like that to hold the piece down. Take the marker and then trace around it, making sure to trace into those registration marks that we punched.
Sometimes I'm really bad with details.
Yeah, it's okay.
I almost forgot both baking soda and salt in the cookies I made today.
Oh,
just for fun.
Those are important.
Yeah, kind of necessary, actually.
We're going to do that with the letter side facing up, because we'll flip this over for the next one. But that is our pattern.
Sweet.
So we do not throw these away. We're going to need those. So then we just go around. And again, I like using the weight for this little piece here. I'll just like hold it with my finger. But yeah, you can start over there. You got a marker?
Sweet.
You do your thing, I'll do mine.
Awesome. I won't let you down.
All right.
You really don't sound very assuring. Okay, great.
Sure.
That's just wonderful.
Try not to hurt yourself.
I've somehow impaled myself with this marker. I don't know how. I'm so
I
sorry.
look over and there's a marker to the hilt in your nose.
Yeah.
We're just gonna take really sharp knives and cut these out. So I'm gonna take one piece like that, and I'll demonstrate.
Thank you.
So when you're cutting, you don't want the blade to wander side to side, so try and cut at 90 degrees, nice and perpendicular, and not like this, but as horizontal as possible. And if you can do it all in one cut, then that would be great. And the way we have these lines, if you follow the inside of that line, that's what we're going for. Like that.
Awesome.
And just take your time, cut nice and horizontally. And if you find the blade has a lot of resistance, that probably means that we need to sharpen it. And we'll just freshen up the blade. These right here are little darts. And then those are registrations. We don't cut those. Yeah. Cool. Great. So that's what we're going for. We're just going to cut all of them out. And throw away all this scrap. Time to get all of our pieces put together. We're going to start by sort of pre-forming these a little bit.
Okay.
With a heat gun, you heat it up a little bit. Becomes a little more pliable. Careful not to burn your hands.
Sure.
Like that, and then sort of start bending it into the form that we eventually want it to be. And this will just kind of help it along its way. Gluing these seams together will really get it there, but
that'll make it so you're not having to, it's not pulling itself apart while you're gluing it kind of thing.
Yeah, it's going to help it along its way. This is the nose thing? Yeah, nose part. I think. And then that's the top of the head.
Yes.
So the nose part just gets bent around like that. So kind of a two.
Oh yeah, because it's the, there we go. Yeah.
And this goes like that. All right, time for glue. Normally I would glue with barge, but I'm low, so I'm using Weldwood contact cement. This stuff is okay, not as good as barge. Usually what I end up doing is brushing on 2 layers of glue before I stick everything together. I found that as long as you put on a good couple of layers, you're good to go. Also, we have a fan over there blowing air across so that we don't completely gas ourselves.
I would like to be able to get home sometime.
Yes. I'm going to start by doing these darts. So getting a little bit of glue and really making sure that I get in and getting the entire surface that's exposed in there. Like that. So, and I don't want any buildup in there, so I'll just sort of, maybe I should use a paper towel to do that. There we go. Like that. That looks pretty good. We'll let that dry for about 5 minutes and then we'll do a second layer. So here you go, Dan. You got your own brush right there. You can do the same thing on that.
Sweet.
In the meantime, any edge that's got these registration marks on them, that's going to get glue on it as well. And same thing. I'm going to glue it up, let it dry for 5 minutes, glue it up again, let it dry for another 5 minutes, and then brush it together. We should probably be wearing gloves.
I've got dead cook hands. It's probably fine. I grabbed a cookie sheet today and was like, I shouldn't have grabbed that. Did it anyway. Didn't really feel it.
Here's a good example. The eye socket and the outer part of the cheek do not need glue. So I'm not going to put glue on them. Now I've gone and I've brushed all of the pieces and I can go back and take a look, and the tackiness, the shininess is all gone, which means that it's ready for its second coat. So once again, I'm going to go in and brush in right on top of the previous layer of glue, just the second layer. And that's really necessary with this DAP Weldwood because it's a little weak. So you can check the first earpiece that you did there. Is it shiny still or no?
A little bit.
No, you're good to go.
Oh, that's good? Okay.
Yeah. The shininess is gone. I'm going to start with these darts. You can practice on those little guys right there. Basically, you just press those together, and when you do, you're trying to keep the two level surfaces as level as possible. Like that. And it should just stick right together. Just like that.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. Contact cement.
Oh, that's why it's called that.
Yeah. So that helps it get that rounded form, like so. Look at that. All right.
I did it.
So now these can go along one another. And it should help create the form we need. And this is where we use those lines to get everything lined up. Just like so. And as we sort of force the seam together, it'll help it create the complex curve we want. Like that. And then the ear kind of does that. Like so.
That is pretty dang cool.
Yeah, and hopefully once we stick everything together, it'll help create that form a little bit better. And there are other things we can do to kind of help it along its way. I'll just...
Yeah?
This is a really complicated one. I'll do this one, Dan.
Thank you.
But again, we're just trying to get those lines together. There should be a line there. There's not. I don't know what happened. But we can guess.
I'm like, did I draw that? I don't know if I drew that one or not. I can take blame for it. Just blame it on me. It's fine.
Damn it, Dan.
Just blame it on the guest, and you look good.
There we go. That's all stuck together now. And we can keep going. That's the thing with contact cement is once it touches, it's there.
It's pretty much there, yeah.
So you'll learn to manipulate it. Since you're going to be doing this every weekend now, since it's your favorite thing to do now.
Well, and then that didn't work out too great.
Oh, God. Come on, you can do it, baby.
Aha!
It's probably not as good as it could be, but that's fine.
Yeah, I was trying to line up the eye. The eye is what I went off of.
Yeah. Like so. The great thing about foam is it is so flexible you can really kind of manhandle it. That's kind of starting to look like a dog face. You can see how if we press the eye in and the ear up like that, it's starting to look great.
All right.
Now this part I'm curious about. We may have to cut a bevel into this, but we'll glue it together and see how it looks. That's all right. Once there is another face here, then that will change the shape of it. But that kind of looks like a Corgi face to me.
That actually kind of worked out pretty well.
Awesome. All right, so we will cut out the other half and make that and then glue them together. But we're not going to make you guys watch all that. So we'll see you guys in the future. Now, there we go. Look at that. They're both done. Hey. So the last thing we have to do is the seam down the middle. So from there all the way up there. So we can each grab a thing. And again, we're going to do 2 good layers on here.
I had to make sure I was actually choosing the right side.
That's good.
I made it so you can glue the ear to the nose. Is that
perfect.
good?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. This one messed up Corgi.
It's just got character.
What's your Corgi's name?
Choco.
Choco.
It is a Japanese onomatopoeia for short, stubby legs running.
That's perfect.
It really is.
All right, so 1 layer, let it dry, another layer. You guys know the drill. Last step for assembly. This is where either this is awesome or terrible. We'll find out. But
I'm not touching it to reduce the chances of terrible.
We're gonna just mash this all together, and hopefully this is where the form really kind of comes into its own. And this is where I really take my time to make sure those seams are nice and level. Yeah, you don't want those to touch down yet. I'll do that. I'll just jam my fingers into his eyes.
Well, this is mildly morbid now.
I'm actually going to touch these ends up here, just so that I know they want to. I'm just gonna let them come together.
Sure.
On my terms. And take my time and press it all together. Just mash his little snout together.
That is a mask.
Look at that!
That's awesome.
Look at that! That looks kind of like a dog thing.
A dog, fox, corgi. They're like.
Once there's paint on the color, yeah, it'll be good. The last thing we can do now is kind of heat form it a little bit by hand to get it closer to the form we want. and kind of round the snout around. I'm just going to kind of do one side and then do the other. Press the ears in the way they need to go. Like that. Kind of round the head over a little bit. It's getting there. And you can just work that a whole bunch until it looks exactly the way you want it to. But there you go. There's the base shape of our Corgi mask. We can do a little bit of sculpting and dremeling to kind of smooth some things out there. And then we can get on to painting. Nice. There you go.
I can see through it. That's actually really important.
That's a pretty good feature.
Yeah.
And if we have a band on it to hold it to your face, it would wrap around a little bit more. Yeah. There you go. So all these edges are really sharp, like 90 degrees, and we want to soften them a little bit with a little drum sanding bit on the old rotary tool here. So we're just rounding that over a little bit. Just a little bit softer, kind of blends it into the cheek versus this really harsh looking thing right there. All right, it's Dan's turn. Showing that fine craftsmanship. I don't think I need to film much more of this.
I mean, what? You don't want to see this for like a day and a half?
Yeah. Time to lay down some paint. I got a piece of foam. I'm going to glue in the back of it so that we have something to hold on to while we're painting it. That seems
Okay, yeah.
like a good idea.
Sure.
I'm just using some super glue.
You just didn't want to have like a little, spot that you'll glue to my face after. That's not what that's for.
No. So we're going to start with just some acrylic paints. These are Angelus leather paints. They're nice and flexible. They're acrylic. They dry pretty fast. We're going to put a base coat of this green color on there just to start with. And I should have got my paint brushes. So just like so. And covering as much as we can. Now it's okay if there's brush strokes in it, and it doesn't need to be a super thick layer. We just want to make sure that we get a lot of the black covered.
Well, then you can sand it out if it doesn't have the smooth texture after the fact, correct?
We could sand it if we want to. We can airbrush paints on if we want to. We've got a lot of options. But really, we're just trying to cover up as much of that black, dark foam color as possible. We went to the Halloween store.
Oh, yeah?
And they did not have any Corgi masks.
Huh.
I was kind of hoping.
Oh, they just already had one.
They already have one. I'd be like, look, Dan, it's done. And you'd be like, holy shit, you're good.
That's amazing. You were by far the best I've ever seen. Yeah, this is totally not plastic printed in some other country.
Yeah. Putting on a second coat of paint here. This is getting a lot better coverage now that that base coat is dried, and yeah, it looks really nice. We went and had mac and cheese. What would you call it?
A grilled mac and cheese sandwich.
That's right. That's what we had for dinner. And let this dry. And now we've got some Createx paints, this pearlized paint here. I think we're going to try and put a coat of that on. See how it looks. And we're just putting this on half of it because we're going to put a color on the other half. Probably going to take a couple of good coats.
I was going to say, is that something you'd have to do?
You ever use an airbrush?
No.
Awesome. It's going to be great. I'm going to hit it with a hair dryer, just right here. And we can probably put a second layer on almost right away. That's pretty cool. Couple, 2 or 3 layers, I think will do it. We got our silvery or sort of shiny looking stuff on there. The rest of this is going to be done. Oh, that's perfect. It's not pulling up the paint. Awesome. The rest of this is going to be purple. Oops.
Twitch purple or something.
Yeah, we got some purple here. Dan's figuring out some of the other design stuff we're going to do. And I'm masking off the part we just painted. Oops, I'm trying to anyway. This is just saran wrap, like a big roll of it. And I'm gonna wrap this around the rest that I don't want to get paint on. And this is great because it doesn't stick to it. So I don't have to worry about it pulling up the fresh paint. So I got my airbrush all loaded, ready to go. Oh, that's nice.
That's a really nice purple.
Boy, that purple looks great. Now I get to demask this, and hopefully I didn't get any overspray, because that would be sad.
Especially since that white color is kind of gone now.
Yeah, we're all out of the white. A little bit of overspray snuck through right there. We will find some ways to hide our crimes later. There we go.
Probably get a brush into that white container and do
Look
something.
at that.
I like that.
Oh, that's really wild. I have some brown paint and adding just some shadows. So some shadows to the ear area. Just subtle sort of depth. Trying to think of school or words from art school I can use. Just a
Smidge?
Just a smidge.
Just like a hunch?
Hint.
Just a hunch.
Just a hint.
Hint. I was
Oh.
I heard you go like hunch and wasn't really sure what you're going with, so I tried to just roll with that. I don't know.
What do you think?
Yeah.
More or less? Good?
I think that's good.
Good. Great. Before we do the last bit, we're going to add the straps. And I got a strap with a slide on it already that I sewed on there. So we're thinking it's going to go right next to the eye right there. And I've got some hot glue, which is great. So that's going to go on there. And then to make sure that the elastic stays put, I've got some nylon webbing. And that's going to get glued on. So that goes like that. We're gonna try not to ruin this. I've got puffy paint to make this sort of embossed filigree. So we're gonna give it a try. We've come this far, might as well ruin it at the last step.
I trust you, Bill. I don't trust myself.
Okay, cool. The key is to go slowly. This stuff is pretty unforgiving. This is going okay. It's kind of okay. This is going to be some really compelling video footage.
Everyone's gonna love it. I mean, it is showing like how someone would do this.
That's where there's going to be a little swirl, I've decided.
Yeah. Beauty.
Finally, all those years of art school are paying off. All right, I'm going to do that a bunch more, only not on camera, because this sucks. A few more hours of hand painting puffy paint later. Da 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 da. It's a Corgi Masquerade mask. Check it out. I think we did all right.
I think you did all right. I think I looked on most of it.
I'll tell you what, the hand painting the puffy paint is an acquired skill, and I need a lot more practice, but I'm pretty happy with how that turned out there. I'm super stoked with the shape of it. Like the form of this head and everything looks pretty good. On our first try too. Like I think a little more.
Yeah.
If you wanted to refine it even more to get like kind of tighter details and everything, you could totally do that.
The purple also was really cool.
Yeah, the purple looked cool for sure. But anyway, the puffy paint is still drying. We'll get some more footage of this looking all super cool. But we don't want to touch it and ruin it. So we're going to let this dry probably overnight.
Yes.
And then you'll be good to go. Cool.
Thank you so much for having me and also doing this with/for me.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for hanging out in the shop.
Yeah.
Where can the folks at home catch you on the internet?
Domestic Dan, everywhere. On Twitch, Twitter, all that fun.
Yes.
DomesticDan.com, all that goodness.
Fantastic. And look for this guy running around TwitchCon.
You might just see him.
Fantastic. All right, that's all we have for you guys. Thanks again so much for watching. We'll see you all in the next build. Hey, thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe so you don't miss any of our new weekly prop and costume tutorial videos. For more goodies, head over to our website where you'll find blueprints, tutorial books, articles, and more. We also have a second channel for our Q&A show and extra behind the scenes videos. Thanks again and happy crafting.